Doctor, thanks for being with us today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Now, this is something that women who go through this, who've been diagnosed with breast cancer, have to decide. And what is it that they're going to learn at this event, and what do you want them to know?
October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and October 21st, which is next Wednesday, is Breast Reconstruction Awareness Day. And so this is an event I do every year, and I want to teach women what are their options when it comes to breast reconstruction, because it can be overwhelming. There are a lot of options, and depending on the nature of their breast cancer and the type of disease they have and the type of treatments they need, the options may not be the same for everyone.
And so during this virtual event, people will have the opportunity to ask you specific questions, maybe about their own circumstances.
Exactly. I think it's a nice opportunity to share their stories and also directly ask me questions when it comes to trying to help them make their decision about their treatment. And of course, because of the pandemic, this event is virtual this year. In the past, we had done an in-person event where people had an opportunity to exchange. And so we're going virtual on Zoom this year.
One of the things that I thought was interesting was I just assumed that breast reconstruction was for people who have had mastectomies, but this is also for, as we mentioned, people who've had lumpectomies too. There are procedures and things that you can do for that as well.
That is very true, indeed. So when women have lumpectomies, which means that only a lump of cancer tissue with some healthy tissue around is removed from their breast, it can cause some contour deformities, or over the years, one breast can become a little bit smaller than the other. And so as plastic surgeons who do breast reconstruction, we do have options for these women as well.
Well, the Twin Cities Breast Reconstruction Awareness, or BRA Day free virtual event with Dr. Valerie Lemaine is October 21st from 6:30 to 8 p.m. The link to register is on your screen, or you can find it on our website at care11.com.